On this episode, I get to sit down with CEO and founder of SBC Gaming, Rasmus Sojmark, and we talk all about the Betting on Sports America 2019 conference. Don't miss it.
This is crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy.
Everywhere you turn, it's the same old sports talk, the same headlines, the same news, and the same boring information. This podcast is here to change all of that. We bring you hot sports takes, winning sports betting strategy and picks, reliable gaming industry news, and breaking interviews with some of the biggest names in sports business. My name is Ryan Knuppel, and welcome to the Knup Sports Show. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to episode number 49 of the Knup Sports Show. My name is Ryan Knuppel. I'm your host here of this show. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate you tuning into this show. We have a very special show in store today. I just got back from probably my favorite conference of all time, the best conference I've ever been to, and it was the Betting on Sports America 2019 conference that took place at the Meadowlands in New Jersey. I spent a week out there, brought my wife, and we went to the event, spent 3 to 4 days at the event, and then another 3-4 days in New York, Manhattan, on a little vacation. Today, the CEO and founder of SBC Gaming, the guy responsible for putting on this entire event, Rasmus Sojmark. He's with me. He joined me. He was kind enough to sit down with me and talk all about the event. You know, I was going to talk about it myself. I was going to go through and just, talk about my experience with the event. But I figured who better than to have on than the man himself, the man responsible for putting this on. So many people enjoyed it. I talked to hundreds and hundreds of people at this event. I think there was almost a couple thousand at the event, but I talked to many people and they all had the same feedback, the same responses from this event, just talking about how first class it was and how well put on it was, and they did everything at a very high level. So I'm excited for you to listen to this. I'm excited for you to hear what Rasmus has to say. He's a great guy. SBC is a great team of people. I got to meet and hang out with a lot of them there at this event this weekend. And so, I mean, over the next month or two, you're going to hear a lot from me about this event, a lot of things that I learned, a lot of people that I talked to. I'm going to connect with them on this show, and we're going to talk about different things that they're into in this industry, because the sports betting industry is really popping, really growing in the United States. And I want to use this show as a platform to bring people on and really just tell their story, tell their side of what's going on in the sports betting industry, and who better to start with than Rasmus. So I'm excited. Without further ado, let's jump right into today's interview. All right, today we have a special guest on the show. Today I'm joined by Rasmus Sojmark. Rasmus, this is the CEO and founder of SBC Gaming. Rasmus, you with me today?
I am, Ryan. Thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely. I'm so honored and privileged that you're joining me on the show here. We just all got back from your awesome new event, Betting on Sports America 2019, that was held at the Meadowlands Expo and Conference Center in New Jersey. Man, what an event that was. I did attend and had a good time. It was a pleasure meeting you. Man, how you feeling after that big event?
I think you just said it there, man. There's no more for me to say, well said. Now, I think just sort of recovered now. There was a lot of organizing before the event, and then you execute during the 3-4 days, and just hope that everyone is enjoying the event. And I think we had some incredible feedback. The response was great. I think this is one of the best events we've done in a long time, and that's very important when you have it as the first one in a in a new big market as the US. So I think it went really well. And I mean, there's several factors when you look at an event. First of all, you want to have the conference working well. I mean, people are there to learn something and be educated and hear what are the latest news in the industry. So I think the conference and the panels were pretty much outstanding. I think a lot of key information was discussed and also shared with the audience, and I think that's key. And I think we did that very well. At least that's what I keep hearing from everyone that's been attending. They're only very, very positive about this part. So I think that was a hit. And I think as well that I think every single speaker did an incredible job, and that can be a bit tough when you have almost 200 speakers on the program. It's hard to manage, you need to coordinate between all of them, and that takes a lot of effort. So I think their participation, their engagement in the lead up to the event, and also, of course, during the event was great. And just a quick personal thank you to all the speakers. I think you guys helped make this event a superb one. Thank you. Furthermore, so Ryan, just ask me a question if you want to post me over.
Sure. I mean, well, I want to chime in on the speakers. I mean, every speaker that I went to, every session, every track that I went into was absolutely amazing. And the only complaint I would have is I didn't get to go to enough of them. I mean, there was so many of them, which is a good complaint, by the way.
Hey,
that's a good problem to have. But
don't worry, man. I mean, listen, the good thing is we video all of it, right? So what we need to do is, of course, we need to have a look through all the material, and then what we will do is release every single panel with video for full access for everyone that attended the event. So you can go back and you can have a look at the ones you missed on the day. But I agree, 3 conference rooms running at the same time can be difficult,
too many choices. I was so conflicted at times. I'm like, oh, I want to go here and here and here, and but it was awesome. It was a great time, and you guys did a good job.
At least it was fairly connected within the venue as well. I mean, it wasn't too complicated to move between the conference rooms, because that is an issue when you say it's like this. You want to go from one room to another between sessions over, and you only have no more than 5 minutes each, so you need to be quick.
So. Sure. Let's talk about the venue for a second. I thought the venue was outstanding. I had actually never been to the Meadowlands area there in New Jersey. What kind of drew you to that spot? And was that always your plan to be at the Meadowlands, or what kind of drew you to that venue?
I mean, we did a lot of research initially. We were sort of thinking about doing it in New York, in Manhattan, and they have the Javits Center, so we were looking at that, but it's quite big, and we thought, okay, maybe wait and just find one that is big but not as big. And we had a look around. There's not an awful lot of venues in New York, to be honest. So we also took a look at New Jersey, thinking that it could be smart to find a way to combine the 2 of them. I mean, New Jersey is where it's all happening at the moment, but of course, people coming over for this also love to see a bit of Manhattan. So how can you best combine those 2? So we went to the area we're talking about here, and they have quite a few good options. There was the Meadowlands racetrack. There was MetLife Stadium, the home of Giants and Jets, and we were having a look at the stadium as well. But it can be a bit complicated with sports betting sometimes, with what venues you can use. So we ended up saying Meadowlands seems to be a good choice. There's a lot of hotels nearby, and make it very, very convenient for people staying. Literally just exit the hotel and you're there. So it also gave us quite a bit of space, like 61,000 square feet, which means that we could create conference rooms, and we could create enough space for people to sit down, network, talk, and of course for the exhibitors and the sponsors to display their products in a nice setting as well. So it ended up being that choice, but at the same time, within that choice, as I said, it's very important to mention that we could combine those 2, Manhattan and New Jersey. So when you are in Meadowlands area, you literally only have around 50 minutes drive to Manhattan. You're straight up at Times Square. Obviously, can be a lot of traffic, so you need to factor that in. And I think that was one of the things we were worried about, that there could be enough traffic. So when we were moving people from after a day of conference and exhibition to the evening event in Manhattan, that would be a bit of a drive. But I think all of that actually worked really, really well. So I'm pleasantly surprised, and I think Meadowlands proved to be an excellent venue for this.
Yeah, I think it did. It seemed like the perfect, balance between, the Manhattan experience and then kind of a little disconnect from that over in New Jersey. And I mean, let's shift over and talk about these. You mentioned the after parties, the evening events. Man, what I had never been to it myself. I never personally been to an SBC event, so this was my first one. And let me say, just right off front, you guys do it right. I mean, your events, your party, your venues, the food, the drinks, just the whole vibe of the parties was absolutely amazing. I mean, is it always like that, or was this one kind of different because there was a little more buzz around the United States, and some of those places you picked were just amazing? I mean, talk to me a little bit about the parties and what you thought the vibe of those was.
I think, to be honest, that it's a recurring thing for events. I mean, we tend to look at what creates a holistic, like a complete delegate experience. I mean, often at big events, and we want it to be a big event. I mean, not too big, 1,500 people or so attending, and of course we look to grow that next year. I think it's important to see what can you do to try and keep people together. Not everyone wants to go to the evening events, and they create their own dinners and their own sort of smaller gatherings for their clients and customers and soon to be customers, etc. So I think when we look at the evening, we sort of trying to think, okay, what can we put together here that people want to attend? So we keep people together, not just during the daytime, but also the evening. Because, I mean, you're right when you're saying for this one, I mean, it wasn't different from any of our other events, but I think this one was just so important to keep people together. You have a whole new market opening up, so much opportunity. So why not go that extra mile to make sure that we're busy, very busy during the day, and we know that from experience because we put on 3 conference rooms, 200 speakers. We have a Ryan running around trying to want to attend all the sessions, you know. And if you're doing that, you can't network, you can't talk to people, you can't do business, you can't, you know, you can't go and meet the exhibitors and you know, see the products and stuff. And for me, that can be a bit of an issue because of course I need to create some action for everyone there, because also the sponsors, exhibitors are a big part of you know, supporting the event. So what we then try and do is to make sure that the ones you didn't meet during the daytime, you'll certainly have a chance to meet on the, you know, during the evening when we have free evening events going on during this event. And I think that is just, you know, the key here, that by going in and creating that environment for you to know that, oh yeah, listen, I'll sit in the conference, I'll suck up all this information and all these sessions and take that back, but I also know that I will have time because SBC organizes these things in the evening where there will be full house. And we had 750 people at the 40/40 Club, and that was a pre-registration day. That was an event for the main conference and exhibition started. I mean, that was unheard of. I you know, I was like, Ryan, to be honest, I was thinking, okay, man, listen, maybe we have 300-400 people there.
Yeah.
And we would do well, because truth to be told, the venues we picked weren't the cheapest ones. You know, we wanted to create some nice really surroundings when you were there. Like, people want to come to a great event. So the 40/40 Club on a Tuesday, there was the NBA playoffs on, you had the NHL, and of course the sports betting events. People love sports, so they want to watch the sports. So how do you combine it so Ryan doesn't run off to go to another sports bar to watch this when everyone else is at another bar, you know, networking pre-event? So we combined the two, taking the best, you know, JC sports bar, and I think everyone just wanted to come and see the bar, and then realize, sorry, my language. There's also networking here. This is a great setting. So, and from there on, you know, as you know, we took the other direction on the Wednesday. We actually brought everyone to the Meadowlands racetrack, and they obviously have a very nice rooftop bar. A bit weather dependent, but we also booked the downstairs. So in case it was bad weather, we could have taken everyone down to the lounge. And also people got to see the first sort of real retail sportsbook in New Jersey.
Right.
A bit of history, right? You saw the FanDuel, which would create an amazing looking, you know, sportsbook in the Meadowlands race and entertainment setting there at the racetrack. So I think that was also another element added into the whole experience here. And you know, the weather was great, so people just loved that, like being on a rooftop backdrop of Manhattan. You know, you had the MetLife Stadium there, you could see the racetrack, there was drinks, there was barbecue, and people continued doing that business that they didn't finish during that very day in the daytime. And, you know, then on the Thursday, of course, to add another element into making it really a key evening for people, we had the Hall of Fame next to the closing networking party at the Sky Room in Manhattan. Now, I'll say to you, Ryan, I mean, I went to New York a couple of times. I had a day, 7 hours, pouring down with rain, walking around, and that was the day we chose to view the rooftop bars in all of New York, just to find the best venue for a party. And obviously that's a bit difficult when it's raining. So the good thing there was Sky Room had this thing that could close off the roof a bit. So in case it was raining, you still had that feel of a rooftop bar, and it was raining that day, right?
Right.
So really have it open. So that was a good choice. And at the same time, you had like Dennis Tracy, Art Manzarek, and you know, Chris Christie coming for the Hall of Fame. And I, you know, personally, this is why I love these events. I had the, you know, the good opportunity here to be the one that presented the Hall of Fame award for former Governor Chris Christie, and that was a proud moment. I mean, he's you know, he's an interesting man for the sports industry, and being up there getting that choice. I mean, that's a luxury that comes with sometimes organizing the event. Normally, I would have, you know, had someone else doing it, like a sponsor or something like that. But I just won this case because it was also a new event. It was nice for SBC also to show ourselves a bit, so people maybe understood a bit better who's behind this event when, you know, you'll come back and realize it was a successful event. So yeah. So I think, yeah, all things. I think it was a great sort of combination there with daytime and strong evening events.
I agree, and there's nothing much else I can say there. You said it all. I mean, I was going to repeat much of what you said about the venues. I mean, absolutely gorgeous venues with some great views, just great people, great food. I mean, all around, just a great experience. So, just once again, thank you for putting that on, and thank you for. I mean, SBC definitely didn't skimp out on those events. They treated people well, and then that was the other thing. I mean, your staff and everybody around the event was very accommodating to everyone.
Yeah, I'm glad to. Yeah.
And just super engaging with people, which is always good to hear. So, overall, great event. Anything else about this event you wanted to talk about here, or are you worn out already?
No, I can continue for hours, man. No. Okay, listen. So what I think is, you just mentioned it. One thing, of course, is very important is you have a good team. So I think we actually had 25 of our staff and colleagues over there. So we wanted to make sure we had a very strong understanding of the events we do, and we could execute on them. Obviously, we had good support from local staff as well that we brought in, and I think they did a very good job. So of course, a big thank you to my team as well. This wouldn't have been possible. Organizing all these elements, that takes a lot of effort. And I think maybe it looked easier than it was. It wasn't that easy, but we did a lot of pre-planning. We did a lot of distribution of tasks between the team members, and they were in charge of this and that. And I think all in all, it went well, because me, Ryan, as well, coming to New Jersey and Manhattan to present an event, it's not just me working and making sure the event works. I also need to talk to you, build my network, and make sure people get to know us better, because we need to put a face to the name for a lot of people. So there's a lot of people that couldn't execute on the work. So it was a very good work for the staff here, whereas others, they went around trying to network and talk and make sure people knew who the actual SBC people were, for future events to build on. And I would say as well, next to that, I say there are some really good highlights on the conference side. I mean, we had the New Jersey Governor, Phil Murphy, on the Wednesday, and that was packed. You had the national media there. You probably had 400 people in there. And I think there was seating for up to 300, but people were standing in the back, and he was very very direct in saying, New Jersey was poised to overtake Nevada in years to come. So that was quite interesting, and obviously that means it was even more interesting to have the event in New Jersey. Added to this, I think we had Hall of Famer Morten Andersen, NFL Hall of Famer and the most capped player in the NFL, giving a very cool and funny keynote on the second day. On the first, I think there was some good fun action there up on stage, and walking around the floor, actually sitting in Morten Andersen's keynote, you have a guy like Richard Seymour. And I mean, I'm a Patriots, right? So me being a Patriots fan, suddenly there's a 3-time Super Bowl winner there. They're shaking my hand and doing a fist bump, and they're taking pictures. I'm like, that's cool, man. And he was great, So you had Brian Westbrook, from former Eagles running back, Ryan Howard there from the Phillies. They were doing a talk on stage as well, which had received very good feedback. Then you also had from the sports betting side, Joe Asher with Kristen Stewart and John Kaplovich from Penn were on the CEO panel, which I went into, and it was packed. Loved the discussion between those guys and see what they had to say. There were some interesting questions from the audience as well. I think New Jersey is the land of opportunity, of course, because that's sort of a follow-up kind of from what Phil Murphy said. You have David Reebok, the former Senator Lesniak, and even Kresimir from Hard Rock discussing New Jersey as an whole. I think that was a really good panel. You had the sponsorship panel with MGM, Nielsen Sport, NHL, and Texas Rangers. Very good panel as well. And then I think to finish it off, the very last panel for the event, normally you and I would be out drinking a beer,
Sure.
But then you went into the room and it was packed, probably because you had good people there addressing the media landscape and how that would deal with the sports betting in the US. And you had John from The Score, Patrick from the Action Network, Brian Mossberg, and David Preslack from NBC. And I think those was a good name. So that helps when you attract people in because they want to sit and learn. But also it's very interesting, of course, because the media in the US seems to be very embracing, towards the sports betting and know there's massive opportunity here. But how does this work? So I think all of this just came together so nicely with the events. I think those are absolutely key highlights. Next, of course, all of the experiences you and I had, evening events and the rest. So yeah.
Yeah, it really did. It really did. And man, I could talk about this all day long. I mean, there's so much that happened at this event that we could touch base on. But I know for the sake of time, I want to let you go, and I want to keep moving on here. So what's next for SBC, both in the United States and outside of the United States? What are the other events do you guys have planned, and what can we look forward to? Because I know a lot of people listen to this, a lot of people in the industry listen to this podcast, and I've been kind of been advocating some of your events. What can I be looking forward to over the next, few months or a year or years?
Yeah, I mean, I think we sort of we're looking at betting on Sports America. 2020 would be, or this will be on the 28th to the 30th of April. For now, I think we set on the Meadowlands Exposition Center again. So mark your date, your calendars for the end of April next year. And I think what we try and do with this is, of course, take back all the feedback we received and try and work out how can we improve on this. How do we do like a year after follow up to discuss the key thing that was addressed and how it's been, progressing hopefully since then. And I think what we also want to do is try and work harder. I think we had a good representation from the sports industry, as in, rights holders, leagues, and clubs. I think we want to bring more of them in. There was also the NFL draft, fell on the same date. So I think that's not going to be the case next year.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we definitely take this back, and then we'll deliver a really strong event next year. And we want to grow it a bit size-wise, not too big, but of course we want to do more and get some more people in to get the commercial side. I think the commercial side will be more and more important as the industry grows, because you need to look at the right products, the right opportunities, the right third-party products. You need to create the ultimate end-user experience. Also on the side of integrity, compliance, and all these things, you need to make sure that the US industry is becoming a very, very solid and well executed part of their entrance into the sports betting side, because there's a lot of mistakes and issues that can be learned from, say, the European market. So try and address these, get the right products, the right people, speak to the right stakeholders, and make sure that is all there next year, which I think it was this year, but certainly work hard on making it even better next year. That's the US event. And of course, for everyone that feels they are still hungry for sports betting information, I would like to say that our biggest event, the one we've been running for several years, is taking place in London on the 17th to the 20th of September, actually at Olympia London, which is one of the big conference centers. And normally there we have around 3,500 senior execs in attendance, and we're presenting no less, Ryan, this time than 300 speakers. And there's also a good exhibition part with relevant sports betting products. We're talking about 140-ish exhibitors. Wow. So there's so much information there, and added to the evening event, for the ones that love a great networking event in the evening, and also at the same time as we did in Bossa or Betting Sports America here, you can get a bit of sort of the local feel and experience a bit of UK, because we booked the Natural History Museum, which is an outstanding venue. We booked that for one of the evenings, and it's just, there will be another European Hall of Fame. So I think those evening events will give you the same feel of the same opportunities to network and do business in the evening. So, anyone that feels from say the US side that can make the trip should absolutely make the trip. And we already have some of the speakers from the US side, of course, represented. We're talking about DraftKings and Hard Rock, and all these guys will come over to attend some of the panels, which they usually do. I think certainly I would recommend this to the US audience, because there is a lot of learnings here as well. There's a lot of different things discussed that might be a bit further ahead of where the US market is, but those are important learnings to take back. So I think this event is very relevant, and I would highly recommend it. Anyone interested can always touch base with me.
Sounds like a good excuse to head to London.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Definitely. You're welcome, my friend. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, sounds great. Well, I appreciate you joining me, Rasmus. I absolutely do. I know you're a busy man, and you're worn out. We both are. I know my voice is actually a little scratchy still, man. I was just all that talking and the loud events. I mean, it was a great event, but I appreciate you joining me. Any last words for the audience before we go here?
Well, I think it's been a great week. Last week, of course, in New Jersey and New York, and I think I'm very pleased to see that we got so great feedback. Even one of my good friends, the president of online gaming for Churchill Downs, which is obviously a good US company, said it was the best event he ever attended. So
Wow.
I think we keep getting this kind of feedback. So, I'll need to suck it in a bit more and learn from this event and start, we will start prepared for next year. And I think yourself and people I've met last week have been incredibly supportive. So Ryan, a big thank you to you as well, my friend, and happy to invite you over here as my guest if you can make it in September. And thank you for giving me the opportunity. That's a bit cheeky. To promote my September event,
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, hey, nothing much else I can say besides great event. I invite everyone that's listening to this, make sure you put it on your calendar. You said April 28th to 30th of next year, 2020. I'll be there again. That's the US one. And then September 17th through 20th in London. So
definitely, man.
Awesome. All right, Rasmus. Well, you get some rest. You get back on your feet now that you're back home. And I certainly appreciate you joining me on the show. And if there's anything I can ever do for you, you don't hesitate to reach out to me.
Likewise, my friend, and appreciate the time and the opportunity here. Yeah.
All right. You take care and have a great day.
Care.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Knup Sports Show. If you enjoyed this podcast, please consider subscribing to our iTunes channel today. Plus, visit us at KnupSports.com for more picks, previews, strategy, and news. That's KNUPSports.com.